Hey, hello and welcome to our micro podcast called Compose. I'm Farshid Sabet, CEO and co-founder of Corvic AI. Each episode, we host one of our pioneer partners who are building and scaling innovative AI applications. We keep it brief with three impactful questions. Today, I'm joined by CTO and co-founder of Ensense, Dr. Shahram Farhadi. It's a pleasure to have you, Shahram. Would you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Farshid. And I'm Shahram. I am building a company called Ensense AI, which is essentially this data cloud for streets. We're collecting and indexing multimodal the data at level of streets and cities.
Thank you, Shahram. Are you ready to get started with questions?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. First question. What was the moment that you knew the old way wasn't working?
Yeah, at the core of what we are doing is essentially our mission is to bring transparency to public places through AI and scalable sensing. And the AI is a big enabler here because data on its own cannot speak. So I think if we have all this information, but to answer any question, you need to go through a human analyst and get the data and analyze it and answer the question. That's just not going to scale to the impact that we want to make in terms of, as an example use case, help someone move to a better apartment from like their noise preference, their parking availability preference, and a wide range of open set questions that someone could pose a multimodal street level data. So the old way of essentially I have the question, but then there needs to be a human to analyze and get me the data is I think reduced to a company having a database, creating an assumption, a long chain of assumptions of, okay, what would the users want to see? How do I organize it now on this UI that is always static? What do they get to see? And that just doesn't work for when you have a wide range of users that will have different questions to ask from this database. So data was essentially locked in a prison that we had a small window called UI to it, but that certainly would have been a big block for a concept like Ensense to work.
And Shahram, what did you actually unlock for your team by collaborating with Corvic?
Corvic is essentially our question answer engine. We are working with Corvic to connect to our database and then parse the user questions, analyze the data, and provide an answer. With Corvic, I think we essentially have been able to mobilize our data to serve different users in different sectors and test different product hypotheses with these users in a very fluid, natural way. I think ultimately, if you're talking to the machine in the same way you're talking to a human, and the machine has access to like a lot of rows and columns, that's the most natural way. And I think we're there with Corvic. There a good amount of inherent complexity in what we do, what Ensense requires in terms of spatial understanding, ability to analyze time series data. Some of what we collect are unstructured in nature. That when we started kind of collaborating with Corvic, the Corvic side got excited about as really this being a good test bed for the technology and the Corvic's technology in terms of question answering from a large multimodal spatial data set. And we have had like different layers of testing for the system, and it's been going very well in terms of really giving us the early signs of, yeah, you can really unlock this data and the users can interact with it in natural language as they would with a human.
And the third and final question, what is possible now that wasn't 6 months ago?
I think we on the level of questions that can be asked from a database like ours, it's a long number of steps that you can ask questions about the address, the neighborhood, the city. You can ask questions about the future state of what would it how this area would evolve traffic wise. And some of this are now in the realm of data query and analysis. Some will require understanding patterns in the past. Some will require the ability to model and predict aspects of the future. I think what we're seeing with Corvic is essentially this wave of capabilities rising and enabling more and more on our side, and that means more features that we can turn on, and more types of questions that we can answer, both in terms of the amount of data that can be handled from the query that are ran, but also the sophistication of the analysis that is done on the data.
Thank you so much, Shahram. We truly appreciate the partnership and can't wait to see the amazing solutions that Ensense delivering next.
Thank you, Farshid. It's been a pleasure. Yeah,